Yellowstone Supervolcano. There is no technology today that will be able to stop this devastating eruption in case of a super-eruption. Scientists warn there is no technology capable of stopping a super-eruption at Yellowstone. Yellowstone, as we know, is one of 21 supervolcanoes worldwide. It has over 60% of the world's geysers and over 10,000 hydrothermal areas. The three super-eruptions occurred lately, 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and about 640,000 years ago, which was a double eruption. 70,000 years ago, it had a lava eruption, and we had another 80 eruptions since then. Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming rocked by up to 3,000 earthquakes each year, leading many to speculate that the catastrophe could be brewing below the surface of Yellowstone. The magma chamber, the roof of the magma chamber is anywhere between 3 to 5 miles below the surface, located in northwest Wyoming. It measures about 30 miles by 45 miles, this caldera, more commonly referred to as Yellowstone Supervolcano. Although there is no evidence to suggest it will erupt again anytime soon, scientists continue to investigate ways to study past eruptions in a bid to shed light on what could happen in the run-up to the next time Yellowstone blows its top with a super-eruption. Daniel Ziorisi, research geologist at U.S. Geological Survey Cascades Volcano Observatory, suggests that such eruptions are impossible to prevent. Speaking on Naked Science back in 2004 documentary Supervolcanoes, he said, "There is no technology that I can conceive of that could stop a super-eruption. Geologists measure volcanic eruptions using Volcanic Explosivity Index VEI, which runs from 0 up to 8. The scale is logarithmic, which means each interval on the scale represents a 10-fold increase in the volume of erupted material. A supervolcano is a volcano that has an eruption with VEI of 8. The volume of deposit for such an eruption is more than 1,000 cubic kilometers. So for context, Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, the deadliest and most economic destructive volcano event in U.S. history, and that had a VEI of 5. Mount Tambora, the most powerful eruption in recorded human history, measured 7 on the VEI. A super eruption would be 10 times bigger than that and 1,000 times bigger than Mount St. Helens eruption of 1980. NASA scientists previously proposed drilling into Yellowstone to reveal the pressure building beneath the ground to mitigate such a volcanic threat, but a report on the U.S. Geological Survey states, in addition to the enormous expense and technological difficulties in drilling through hot, mushy rock, drilling is unlikely to have much effect on whether magma is stored beneath Yellowstone. And they said, at near magmatic temperatures and pressures, any hole would rapidly become sealed by minerals crystallizing from the natural fluids that are present at those depths. So in other words, it would be mute to do that. It wouldn't do anything. Now, the report said even if there were significant eruptible magma beneath Yellowstone, drilling into it in an attempt to release pressure would have a devastating effect. They said scientific research has proven again and again that depressurization is one of the factors that drives magma towards the surface in order to erupt. So you can imagine. Trying to depressurize a volcano causes it to erupt, they say. They said so attempts at cooling and depressurizing magma systems would have many unintended negative consequences, including making an eruption more likely. Predicting potential super eruptions like a super eruption in Yellowstone is almost impossible, they said, according to Cardiff University as well. The team looked at evidence from 13 previous super eruptions, including the most recent one of the Mount Taupo supervolcano in the North Island of New Zealand that took place about 24,000 years ago. And as we read, that was almost an extinction level event. Anthropologists said that they estimated that only 2,000 human beings were left on Earth. 2,000, that's just an average of about 1,000 couples from that eruption. They found that eruptions lasted for varying times, ranging from short periods of days or weeks or even to decades. Dr. George Cooper, co-author of the study, said in his statement, "Super-eruptions can start literally with a bang and collapse of the chamber roof, or begin gradually with hesitancy before escalating into catastrophic activity." So they can happen in a bang instantaneously, or they can build up to a super-eruption. He said overall the eruption can be rapid, uninterrupted events over a few days, or an episodic sequence prolonged over decades. And he said the uncertainty associated with these events therefore make it very challenging to determine when and how these volcanoes may potentially erupt in the future. Yellowstone last erupted, according to USGS scientists, was preceded by numerous explosions over the course of several decades. Analysis of rock deposits have painted a picture of a complex sequence that started with multiple explosive events that might have been separated by years to decades before the better mapped explosive eruptions ensued of the super-eruption. It also follows a similar pattern to the Huckleberry Ridge eruption at Yellowstone about 2.1 million years ago. Researchers found that that also took place over decades rather than being a single event. So it's believed that any future super-eruptions would have both short-term and long-term impacts. There's evidence for a global cooling after Mount Tambora eruption, and in the short term, the pyroclastic flow would engulf the surrounding states, and other places in the US would be impacted by falling ash. Fortunately, the chances of such an eruption are extremely small for now, though this is of course subject to change. And this is on Express UK by Charlie Pittock. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.